If sin had a flavour, it tasted like our first kiss, stolen under the moonlit shadow of the willow tree, promising a forbidden saga of heartache. It started with a spark, an innocent flirtation that ignited a blaze I couldn't control. His name was Michael, and he was like a melody that I couldn't stop humming, a rhythm that set my world dancing to a dangerous beat. We were reckless, we were fire, and we thought we were invincible. But as we wove our web of midnight whispers and hotel room confessions, the first threads of an inevitable unravelling began to show. This is the beginning, the first chapter of my fall, and the moment I awoke to a love that was as intoxicating as it was toxic. Chapter 1. Shocking love, triangle, my torrid affair with a cheating husband. You wouldn't believe me if I told you how it all started. The kind of thing you think only happens in those tattered paperbacks with the worn spines and dog-eared corners, sitting on the shelf of a quaint little bookstore in a forgotten lane. But here I am, sipping my third cup of coffee, staring out the window at the drizzle that makes everything look like an impressionist painting, and I can't help but laugh. It's not a happy laugh, mind you. It's the laugh of a woman who's seen the curtain pulled back on a magician's act. His name was Michael, and he was the storm that broke the drought of my life. I met him at the most unexpected place, the annual fair. He was leaning against the candy floss stall, with a smile that could coax a cat off a fish wagon. We got to talking, you know, the kind of light chat that you do when you're just passing the time, not expecting it to lead anywhere. He was charming, with a capital C. The man had a way with words that would make a poet toss their quill into the river and give up. I laughed more in that 15 minutes than I had in the last 15 days. And when he asked for my number, I gave it to him without a second thought. That's what you do when life throws you a bone, right? You grab it. I wasn't naive. I saw the tan line on his ring finger. But he spun me a tale of a loveless marriage, of being on the road to being single again, and like a fool, I believed it. Or maybe I wanted to believe it because when he looked at me, I felt like I was the only one in the world. Our affair was a whirlwind. It was stolen moments, passionate embraces, the kind that make you forget your morals and the life you had planned for yourself. We were reckless, but isn't that just another word for alive? Every message, every secret meeting, I felt it in my bones. This was something. It was wrong, but it was something. We'd meet at the edge of town in the little motel that smelled of pine cleaner and sawdust. It was our world, a bubble where nothing else existed. No responsibilities, no consequences, just us and the lie we wrapped around ourselves like a warm blanket. But as the leaves turned golden and began to fall, so did the facade. I started to see the cracks. The late-night calls he'd step out to take, the sudden trips out of town, the way his gaze would dart away when I talked about the future. I should have seen it, should have known that you can't build anything that'll last on a foundation of whispers and secrets. Then came the day that changed everything. The day she called me. Beth, his wife, his real wife. Not the figment of a failing marriage he'd painted for me, but flesh and blood, anger and pain, betrayal and vengeance. The phone call was like a slap, sharp and stinging, a wake-up from the dream I'd been living. She was furious, and who could blame her? Her husband, my lover, the magician with his tricks, had been playing us both. And oh, how well he played. She told me things I wish I could unhear because ignorance is bliss, isn't it? But once the truth is out, it's like a bell that can't be unrung. She told me about their life, their kids, their plans, all intertwined like the ivy on an old oak tree. And there I was, the axe trying to split it apart. The call ended with a threat, one I took seriously. Beth wasn't a woman scorned. She was a hurricane ready to reclaim her land, and I was nothing but a beach house in her path. Now, as I sit here, I wonder what's to come. I've got a choice to make, a path to choose. Do I keep living this half-life, a shadow in someone else's story, or do I walk away? Do I risk the storm, or do I seek shelter from the lies and the deceit? I know what I should do, but what I'll do, well, that's a story for another day. For now, let's just say, the storm's not over yet, and I've always loved the rain.